My film this week is from 1985. It is called Mishima and stars Ken Ogata. It is directed by Paul Schrader, screenwriter of Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and The Last Temptation of Christ, and director of Cat People, Patty Hearst, and Autofocus. Mishima is written by him, his brother Leonard Schrader, and Leonard's wife Chieko Schrader. The cinematography is by John Bailey, the music by Philip Glass, and the production design by Eiko Ishioka. The dialogue is in Japanese with subtitles, and it is narrated by Roy Scheider. This movie was executive produced by Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas. It was made possible only because Lucas bullied Terry Semel of Warner Brothers into ponying up the final $3 million necessary for completion. For this selfless devotion to art, Lucas has earned from me a lifetime pass. On November 25, 1970, the whole world learned of Yukio Mishima. On that day, the celebrated novelist, playwright, actor, and impresario invited reporters and cameramen to the military barracks in Japan. He and 4 members of his 80-man private army, the Shield Society, took hostage the governor of Tokyo. He addressed the assembled soldiers from a balcony and urged them to overthrow what he condemned as Japan's craven and materialist government and reinstate the emperor. His passion was greeted with incredulity and contempt. Mishima returned to the governor's quarters and committed ritual suicide, harikari or seppuku. The 2 suicides were botched horribly. It turns out it is not so easy to slice off a man's head as one might imagine, or as other movies would have you believe. Mishima's final gesture shocked and scandalized Japan. He became an unperson and remains so to this day. Paul Schrader's Mishima was filmed entirely in Japan with an all-Japanese cast and crew, but has never been released in that country. Mishima is an attempt to explain Yukio Mishima's transfiguration, for that is how he saw his life and how Schrader has presented it. Mishima was born in 1925 and was thus 20 years old when the war ended. And it is impossible to consider Yukio Mishima and his generation without an understanding of the catastrophe that engulfed Japan in 1945. The country was smashed with conventional weapons, while Hiroshima and Nagasaki were obliterated with nuclear weapons. The emperor announced he was not divine and never had been. General MacArthur reconstructed Japan on liberal democratic lines. Japan was to become a land not of warriors, but of bureaucrats, mercantilists, and salesmen. Mishima grew to hate this new Japan, even as it made him rich and famous. He was consumed with shame for not dying in battle. Mishima is not a conventional biopic. It begins at the end, goes back to the beginning, and dramatizes both 3 of his works and episodes from his life to illustrate his growth from timorous and effeminate youth to bodybuilder and militarist, and to illustrate the 4 principles at the heart of the Mishima enigma: beauty, art, action, and harmony of pen and sword. Most important, it begins and ends with the rising sun. The production design by Eiko Ishioka is wholly artificial and extraordinary. While black and white is used to film the historical episodes, and cinema verite color is used to film the last day of Mishima's life, Ishioka's sets are dominated by 3 different color schemes: gold and green for the Temple of the Golden Pavilion, pink, the bad taste color par excellence, as Ishioka says, for Kyoko's house, and black and white elements for runaway horses. A few words about the music. Philip Glass is our greatest living composer, and his then minimalist style, his relentless ostinatos, his endless recapitulations and regenerations are perfect for the protean Mishima and further reinforce the intense unity of this film. He employs a string quartet for the historical scenes, and then an ever larger instrumental palette as Mishima hurtles towards his final grand gesture. This is a score of overwhelming beauty, of Wagnerian depths, but it is humorous as well. Kyoko's house sounds like salon music played by the Ventures. Both the full score and Glass's Mishima string quartet are available on CD from Nonesuch. They have my highest recommendation. Mishima is characterized not only by the power of style, but also by the power of ambiguity. Schrader does not tip his hand. Mishima's death was grotesque and objectively mad, but he does not seem insane. Speaking to reporters, he is worldly, suave, charming, and witty. Speaking to the acolytes who will share his fate, he is solicitous, kind, and gentle. It is just as easy to come away from this film believing Mishima to be a patriot and hero as it is to believe him a poseur, a clown, a histrionic homosexual, or even a Nipponese Travis Bickle. One thing is certain, however. This movie is a masterpiece. Once seen, it is never forgotten. Mishima is available in a 2 DVD set from the Criterion Collection in a gorgeous package with a 60-page booklet. It features a commentary by Paul Schrader and associate producer Alan Paul, and extensive interviews with John Bailey, Philip Glass, and Eiko Ishioka. As good as it is, however, this film cries out for Blu-ray. And the good news is that Criterion has made a 2K restoration, so we can expect a high-definition version soon.